Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly update for January 17th, 2021. So this week was a little more calm, which was nice. Work wasn't so bad. We were pretty busy though. Again, we were going into our winter season, which means we were doing a lot of maintenance on like everything. So I'm scheduling all over the place. Anyway, but it's going pretty good right now. We just had a lot of broken things as well. It's just that season. It's just how that goes. So work is fine. Not much else really going around. I mean, everything's kind of, the world is still crazy, or at least the US is still crazy. Just want to get through this next week. I'm not sure how it's all going to go. Kind of a little concerned to get us through, but I'm hopeful that it's on its way to getting better, but we'll see how that goes. So that's all I kind of want to say about that. I do want to say I put up my 500 subscriber Q&A and an announcement video that has a giveaway on it. So if you guys would like to go look at that video, I will have it linked down below. And ask me your questions, and next week I will answer them and draw somebody to win some books, hopefully, or some money for some books. So anyway, other than that, I've been kind of quiet here on the channel after all the New Year's stuff. I think January I always kind of like do that, where I just kind of revert back to only doing a few things. So I do have my stats finally put together for 2020. I really need to find a way to be able to do it ahead of time, because it took me like 4.5 hours to compile all my data, at least. It might have been longer than that. I was at it all morning yesterday, but it was fun. Like, I love that kind of stuff. I still wish I knew how to make the graphs. So yeah, it's going to be kind of low key, but I will have my stats video up probably on Tuesday, so look for that. Beyond that, let's just talk about the books. So my reading week was a little weird, but I did finish 2 things. I DNF'd one, and I just ate some hair. And then I'm in the middle of a few more, well, I'm in the middle of 2 small books, and then I'm gonna read in the next week. We'll see, because it matters how the week goes. So the ones I completed, I did finish Edith Head, The Life and Times of Hollywood's Celebrated Costume Designer, by David Chirichini, I think, something close to that. Sorry, I tried to figure that out. So this is, again, a biography on Edith Head, who worked in the studios from the 1920s into the early 70s. She was mostly at Paramount, and then she moved around a little bit after that. But oh my gosh, this was so interesting, except, you know, I'm not into fashion, so some of the things just didn't click with me, and I'm not huge on Hollywood either, but because I read Fifth Avenue 5 AM by Sam Wasson about Breakfast at Tiffany's, and the way that the book was made, or, you know, from Truman Capote to the movie being made with Audrey Hepburn, and all the Hollywood directors and writers and things like that talked about it. It was just so fascinating. And they talked about Edith Head and the costumes because Audrey Hepburn had a certain designer. So she, of course, did all the other designs except for Audrey Hepburn, and Patricia Neal had their own. But she did everything else. So it was really, so I got kind of fascinated with the costume side of older Hollywood, and it was just really interesting to see that, and how she... And again, you guys have to understand, I have real bad things about lying tropes in books. She was such a liar, like, because she got burned a couple times in the beginning. She was like kind of ruthless in a lot of ways, and very tight-lipped about some things. And then she would just take credit for stuff that she didn't do by herself. And it was very fascinating to see someone who was so professional and yet not. But she sounds like a fascinating character. People, I mean, as a person, she was just so much character. Like, there's so much more than she looked on the surface, because she did kind of do a TV show and a radio show about fashion and things, and helping people dress and stuff. And because she was very good at, she was not like a designer, like the fashion designers, like the high end, like she wasn't to that level at all, and she knew that, but she was good at working with what she had and doing it to what the movie needed or what the director wanted. She was really good, a good yes ma'am, like yes sir kind of thing on getting stuff done. But she also did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that maybe weren't all that great. I thought it was really interesting. I can't say it was like the best book or anything, but if you like old Hollywood and you want to know more about costume design, and I think Edith Head is definitely a name. I mean, again, I had seen pictures of her, but I didn't know who she was until I read the other book. Again, because I'm not fascinated with Hollywood. But if you are, I would totally recommend this in that way. I think it was just a fine book on that, and I learned a lot of stuff. There's a lot of name dropping, again, because we're talking Hollywood, and I don't know all those names, but it was interesting to hear about a lot of the leading ladies that she did do a lot of work with, and the ones that didn't, and how sometimes she didn't have good relationships with some of them over some weird some things. It was interesting. It was very, very interesting, but I did enjoy that. So I got that done pretty quickly after buying it, after searching for it and getting it. So I was pretty happy with that. So the other book that I finished was Hot and Badgered by Shelley Lauriston. This is the first book in the Honey Badger Chronicles. So I've had this on my shelf since it came out in April 2018. And I've been staring at it. I mean, it has been on my supposedly my top 100 TBR books. Which I grab books off there all the time, but maybe not as much as I should. But this has been on there like for the last 2 years, and I've been staring at it going, I should read that, I need to read that. And after reading her Scarred Earth Saga, the fantasy romance, the two books that came out this fall, or one came out last year, or in 2019, and the other one came out 2020 in the fall, and I read both of those in the fall and loved them. Like, they are my favorite books by this author. Again, she also goes by G.A. Aiken. But the Shelley Lauriston ones, I'd read the Call of Crows series back before that. I think it was before I was on BookTube. I'm not quite sure, but I read all three of those. Loved them. Like, they're like these are like all romps, very much totally out of the like out of the park, kind of bizarre, weird stuff. But there's so much action and fun in here, and found families as well as normal core families, but all with twisted different things going on. A lot of family stuff. So this one is her other series that I missed. So as I said, this is one I wanted to concentrate on this year, and I'm so glad I finally picked this up. I really enjoyed this. Of course, it turns out that actually her Pride series, which I never started, but I have like, I think the first 5 or 6 in ebook, is actually characters that popped up in here were from those books. So now I'm like, well, what do I do? Do I go back? I mean, I was okay. I probably would have got more out of it if I'd read those other books first. I will admit that. But that was a small part of it. Her cast of characters in this is gigantic. So if you do not like huge cast of characters, this is not the story for you. This world is much more immense than I thought when it started. I thought this was, again, I thought these books, again, I have the first 3 books, and the 4th book supposedly is coming out in August. So I wanted to make sure I got this done, or get this started, because I pre-ordered the 4th book and I hadn't started the series. So we're following 3 sisters who are of honey badger shifters, but in different ways. One is wolf and a honey badger hybrid. One is a full honey badger, and the other one is a tiger, or like a white tiger, and honey badger. So they're half sisters. They have pretty much been screwed over by all sides of their family. They pretty much just depend on each other, and I love that about this story. Again, the sisters are crazy and get mad at each other, and it's just like Shelley Lauriston and G.A. Aiken. It's always like that. It's just craziness, but I love it because I don't have that kind of sibling relationship, nor do I want it, but I just love it. It's just fun. But they are suddenly being hunted, and they know it's because of their father, who they all hate. Which is just, again, family dynamics. But again, the world is so much bigger than I expected. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to go back and read all the Pride books? I don't even know how many there are. I just said, I think I have 6 of them on my Kindle. I think I have 1 physically, and then I think I have 6 or so on my Kindle. So it's got to be like a 7 or 8 book series. I'm going to have to look into it. I just figured that out last night after I finished it, when I read some reviews, because I wouldn't let myself do that until after I was done. And I'm like, oh, it's part of that series. No wonder there was like so many couples that popped up that I'm like, why are we meeting these people? Like, I didn't get it. it'd probably make a lot more sense. So I don't know if anybody has read this series and the Pride series by Shelley Lawrenson. Let me know if I need to go back and read all of them before I continue, or if I should just continue out the Honey Badgers and I can go back later and read those. I don't know. It might be the year of Shelley Lawrenson. I've already kind of decided that. But this was just fun. As I said, it's not, I didn't like this as well as the fantasy romance that the Blacksmith Queen and the Princess Knight. I mean, those are just fantastic to me. And again, that's her newer stuff. And it's slightly different because it's fantasy. The Call of Crows still, I think, holds a little bit more, I had more fun with that one. But again, I really enjoyed this too. I liked the characters. I'm ready to continue with the next book in a Badger way, to go to do the next sisters, you know, love story kind of thing. But I really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to read more. So let me know if you guys have read the Pride series and if I need to go back and read those before I continue, or if I should just get to these three and then start the Pride series. I don't know. I have them on ebook, and as I said, I have one physically, but. And I just had, like, I tabbed one thing in here because it was so funny. There was this great thread through here that she kept all the way through that just made me laugh every time. Because there's a lot of shifters in here, and the sisters get some help from some bears. And one of the characters, when she gets upset, she goes and bakes. And there's a point where it just is a joke because they had a list ready for when she got upset to go cook. I just laughed so hard and out loud. It was hilarious. As I said, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to continue this series. Just let me know if I need to go back and do the Bride series too. I'm going to do it at some point. Now I'm like wondering if I should start it now. And then I had one DNF. I had joined a read-along group with Tia and the books. She'd asked for people who wanted to read certain books on one of her first videos this year, and As Bright as Heaven was on my shelf, and it's one I've heard nothing but good things about. So I was looking forward to this historical historical fiction about the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic in Philadelphia. So I got, what did I get to? I got to 137 pages. So I didn't get that far. I got to 23 chapters. We were reading 10 chapters a day. So they're probably finishing up today, the read along. But I DNF'd on Tuesday night when I was going to read a little bit ahead, because Wednesdays I don't have as much time after work because I have to get up early on Thursday. So anyway, so I was going to read a few chapters that night just to see, you know, get myself into it so the next day I wouldn't have to read so much. And yeah, I DNF'd it at that point. I was so mad. So, again, I was the only one who DNF in the group, but I don't have a problem DNFing. You guys know I will DNF when a book is doing stuff that I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with this. There's a character in here who makes a decision, and yes, she is young, but she's old enough to know that that was not, she shouldn't have done that. But I felt like it was just this last straw. Like, it was, by that point, I was getting mad and madder at this book. There were some so interesting things in this. She did such a good job for a book written in 2018, or published in 2018, I believe, that she wrote about the 1918 plague, or the, you know, the pandemic before 2020 hit. I thought she did a really good job in the early part of the book of showing how that hits. Again, it wasn't, I mean, we had a little intro section, and then it was later into the year that we get that, when these, this family of, moved to, Philadelphia, from the country, and then they get to see, they're there the, you know, probably about, you know, 10 months before it hits. But, okay, so there was a lot of good things, and I think her writing is fine. It really was a character thing for me. I wasn't expecting to have the three girls were younger than I assumed. I don't know why, looking at this, they all look like they should be pretty older teenagers to me. So that's in my head. That's how old I thought they were going to be when I started reading this book. And then I found out one was really young, and then the other two were like 13 and 12, or no, 15 and 12, something like that. 12, 14, like they were lower teens. And I wasn't expecting that. And so when they had their chapters, which she switched off between those three and the mother, that. I was just like, okay. It was, again, they were young girls. I wasn't expecting it. And I wasn't, it was hard for, I guess it was just hard for me. Anyway, so, but again, the breaking point came when a character does something which I think is ultimately stupid. I mean, not that she saved somebody, because maybe that's true that she did, but she ignored somebody else who was also probably in need, and then she lied about it, like what about where she found that person. And I was upset. Like, I was just literally like, I just put the book down and was like, we're done. Like, I'm done. Like, I just got to that point where, and again, it was a little things about that character had already bugged me earlier about her infatuation with an older man and blah, 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 you know. Again, she was a kid to me. So the point is like, this is just all not working for me. Which is really sad. I've only heard really good things about this. I am obviously, I am in the minority on this one, so I would not go off of what I said about this. I think it really is just, it was ticking those boxes that annoy me, and it ticked them really well. And I just got to the point where like, I just don't care. So I did keep in the chat just because I wanted to see what everybody else said, and the more that they talk about it, I am so glad I DNF'd. Like, I have no regrets. Like, I am so glad that this book is done. I'm going to take all my tabs out, and I'm going to get rid of this book when I can. It's just not for me. And that's just how it goes. I don't know if I will pick up another Susan Meisner book at some point. I might, just to try her one more time, just see if it's her and I don't get along with how I think things are, you know, that I believe her characters, or what I want them to, or that they go in ways that I can handle. I don't know. I think there are some really dark things in here. I think that, I mean, none of that was a problem for me. I mean, again, I knew I was going into a book about a pandemic. I knew what I was getting into. Those were not my problems with this. This really had to do with some of the character choices of what they did, and I just got to the point where I just didn't care. And again, that's usually a good point for me to DNF. So I DNF'd at 137 pages. Oh well. I felt kind of bad, but I was the only one, and I'm the only one who had upset problems with it, but it just bothered me, and I just got to the point where it wasn't worth it to me. I have so many books on my shelf, and so many things were just calling to me, like, again, the Honey Badger book was just calling to me that I'm like, I can't read a book that I don't want to pick up. So anyway, so now let's continue with the two books that I'm in the middle of. So I am in the middle of The Warden by Anthony Trollope. Again, this is a reread for me. I read this about 2.5 years ago. So I'm doing it for the read along that we're doing on Instagram to read the Barsetshire series this year. So we'll see how I go. But I wanted to reread this because, again, it had been a couple years. And I knew going, Barchester Towers, the second one, which we're reading in February, March, kind of references a few things in there, and some of the characters pop up. Because I read the first 100 pages of that one before I had to put it down. So anyway, so I'm really, I'm not very far. I'm only about 84 pages in, I think, of 223. So I'm a little behind. I was supposed to be reading a chapter a day, but about Wednesday, I think on Thursday I might have read a chapter. I didn't read one Friday. I didn't read one Saturday. So today I'm going to try to catch up by reading a couple chapters. As I said, if I keep to a chapter a day, I will get done before the 31st. So I just want to be done by the by the end of the month. So I have still 2 weeks. So I have plenty of time. I'm chapter 9. I think there was 22 chapters in it. Or 21 chapters and a conclusion. So I still have time. I just want to like continue and try to get a chapter a day. So I'm going to try to at least read 2 or 3 chapters today to kind of get back on track on that. And again, this is Anthony Warden wrote this in, or published it in 1855, something like that. It's the mid 1800s. It has to do with a man who is in the church, and he has been given this position of the warden of this hospital that looks after journeymen who have been injured badly enough that they cannot support themselves anymore. So it's kind of a charity. And one of the men in the community thinks it's unfair that he should get so much money while they're in this charity, while he's just watching over the charity. And so there's the political and the church politics of between that, and of course there's that extra element that the young man was kind of courting the warden's daughter, and then that kind of mixed up in there too as well. So it's I mean, again, I really enjoyed it the first time I'm reading it. I'm really enjoying the second time. I'm getting a lot more out of it, as I said. So I just want to continue on with my reread and try to get that done this month, so I can keep up with that. And then I picked up People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami. So I've read several books by her. I've read The Strange Weather in Tokyo before, and The 10 Lives of Mr. Shinino. So this is like flash fiction. Well, not flash fiction. They're like each chapter is like maybe is usually a page and a half, or page or, you know, like 2 pages and then another half page. So there's like 30 some stories in here, I think. I think that's what it came out to. I think so. Yeah, there's quite a few. And so they're all like little short stories, and it has to do, it's showing a neighborhood where the main character is from. We don't really know who she is, but we meet people she knows, she grew up with, and then people in the neighborhood, like, and they're all kind of surreal. There's something weird about a lot of those stories. It's not straightforward and all, I guess. And there's a man who has 2 shadows, and then there's a weird disease that goes around that changes everybody but one guy, so then he's teased about it. And there's just some weird things, like there's even a little alien story in here. They're just really weird, and she does write kind of bizarre stuff. So I didn't expect quite it to be so odd, but I'm glad I picked it up. Again, it's probably one of the most expensive small little books I ever bought, but I wanted to read more by her. And again, this is translated by, what did I say? Ted Goosen. So again, I'm reading this for Invisible Cities, for another Japanese entry. I was trying to get at least 2 done for this year, for this month for Japan. So again, I have tons more books on my shelf. I just need to read them, but I did read. I'm in the middle of that. So I'm about 68 pages of 116 pages, something like that. So 120 pages. So I'm just over half, just barely. So I'm going to try to, as I said, I'll probably read a few more of these today, and then maybe a few the next couple days, and just get it done. But as I said, they're really, because again, every story is like 3 pages long. It doesn't take long, but I mean, again, they're just weird little surreal stories. I mean, the neighborhood's kind of funny, and the people in it, and the little shops you get to hear about. Again, when you read it through, you meet more and more people in the area, and it's a weird little story, but I like it so far. So then what do I want to read into the next week? I don't know for sure. So because I finished Hot and Badgered late last night, I was like, I'm gonna finish this book, I'm so close. So I stayed up to do that. And then again, I do want to read as much of People from My Neighborhood. I want to try to get that done either today or tomorrow, as I said. And then The Warden, I want to read a couple chapters, but I go, well, then I have the rest of the day, so what do I want to read? So I think I'm going to read a book that I just got, and that is Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna McGuire. This is book 7. I don't remember what number we're at on Wayward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it only? I guess it's book 6. So this is book 6 of the Wayward Children series. So again, I've really enjoyed all these. I own them all. Some I've liked better than others. So, but I hear that this is another entry where you don't have to have read all the rest of them. Although, you know, again, I've read them all. So it has to do with horses and things kind of like that. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not a horse person. I never was as a kid. Like, I've never been on a horse, actually, to be honest. So I don't know. So I'm figuring I'm going to pick this up probably next. It's only 170 some pages. So I'm pretty sure this will be the next one. I'll read it at least sometime this week. But anyway, so these are like portal fantasies, with children who go through the portals, and a lot of times we see them when they come out of the portal and how that reacts, and then sometimes we see them go in and what they do. So I'm hoping to get to that one. So that might be next. Or I might pick up Romancing Mr. Burgerton by Julia Quinn. This is book 4 in the Bridgerton series. I want to continue reading these. No, I have not watched the adaptation because I do not have Netflix right now. But I keep seeing all the memes and all the like little clips from the cast and stuff. And I'm like, I want to watch it. But I haven't convinced my brother to do another Netflix. And I don't want to join until he's ready. So anyway, I'll be fine. I can hold out. But I want to read more of the books. So this is the one I'm really looking forward to. It has to do with Colin and Penelope. And I want to read it. Especially after the scene that was in book 3 that really upset me for her. Made me mad at him. And I want to see how that all comes about next. So anyway, so I might pick up this one. Hopefully this week. I don't know. We'll see. Or if I don't feel like either of those, or I read those and then I get to this, it's time to get back to the Vicomte de Bruglin. So this is book 3 in the Three Musketeers series, or the D'Artagnan romances. So this is the first section of 10 Years Later. That is, you know, well, if you know what all the terms are, just think it's the third book, publication-wise, of the Three Musketeers. So I got about 112 pages in, and that I found out I was reading too many big books. I read that one at the same time as another one, and I put both of them down because I was just not reading at the end of the December. I just thought, let's just put those aside and we'll get back to them. I finished the other book now, and now I've read a few smaller ones in between, so now I'm ready to return to this one. And again, this is historical fiction, written in the, oh, I don't remember what year he wrote it in, 18 something. I don't remember. Oh, they don't write it down here. I don't remember if he was in the 50s, 1850s, but the story takes place in 1660. So there's a lot of historical stuff in France. Again, this was, this was translated from the French by David Coward. So this is, again, a continuation of the Three Musketeers. So we have D'Artagnan, who is still a musketeer in the service of the king. But now this is a different king than, anyway. So anyway, he, well, the king that was in the, oh, well, never mind. I'm not going to go into it. The place is history. It's 1660 and all this stuff happening in France at that time. So there's a lot of history stuff that I don't know anything about. He, of course, is kind of stretching the truth and, you know, making it more fun. The notes are really fantastic in here. I think, though, at some point I'm going to stop reading as many of them because it is my first read through this. It's distracting me a lot by having to read so many notes, except I'm learning so much. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one I've really enjoyed them so far, so we'll see. But I know if I just started reading it faster, I would probably, you know, get through more of it and, you know, enjoy it more. But I'm learning so much stuff, so I don't know. We'll see how I feel about this. I really want to get through this. Again, I am behind on what I wanted to read. I wanted to finish this and get another book done in 2020, and I did not. So I want to get one of these done and then hopefully pick up the next one later in the year. Because I still have several of them to read. And again, this one's over, I think it's over 600 and, yeah, 609, or, yeah, well, just, yeah, no, 670 or so. Maybe 700. It's like not, it's not as big as some of them and not as small as the others. So anyway, I still want to get to this. So, but I might let myself read the small ones, the romance and the little urban fantasy one first and then get to this, or I might pick this up next. I don't know. So that's where I'm going at. So that's kind of what I've been reading, and then we'll just do my little check sheet because I do get to cross up, you know, knock off a few because I did start a series. So on my series, I get to put a start. Probably not what I should have done, but I did start Hot and Badgered, so I did read that, so that's pretty good. I also, oh, let's put my line checked out. So I also did a nonfiction with the Edith Head, so I get to check that off. I do not get a mark off for historical fiction because I DNF'd. But I think that's it for now. I am noticing that my classics are kind of bare, so as I said, that's why I want to get back to my Alexander Dumas because he counts, you know. And then historical fiction, that technically counts for that one too. So that one, and also a plus 600. So if I finish the Dumas this month, I get to check off quite a few. And he's a 5-star prediction. The rest of them all were just, you know, here and there. And then ebook, I'm really trying to decide on an ebook to read, and maybe at work. I'm not doing very good about reading at my lunchtime. Right now I've been, well, doom scrolling a lot too much in the last couple weeks. So I might pick an ebook. I'm not sure if I will pick up the first book in the Pride series by Shelley Lawrenson, or there's also a Highland Romance by by Lindsay Sands I might pick up. So I don't know. So I might pick up something like that. I did try an ebook from the library for Invisible Cities, but it didn't work out for me. So we won't go into that. I DNF'd it too early to have it on my list. Do you see? There's like a certain point where if I DNF it really early, I don't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, just didn't work for me. So okay, I think that's everything. So again, I hope you guys had a good reading week. I know the world, especially us here in the US, are still kind of crazy. Hopefully we'll get through the next week. It'll be all good. I don't know. As I said, remember, if you have not seen my announcement video, if you have any questions or want to join the giveaway, ask a question and you'll be in the giveaway kind of thing. So I'll link that again down below. I will have my stats up in the next couple days for 2020. So then we've wrapped up the whole thing. That'll be the end of 2020 for me. So let's get that done. So I think that's it. I hope you guys are reading something good. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.